Now to baseball. Because our Mariners, they have pulled off 2 trades today.
Yep.
They got Mitch Haniger back.
I mean, come on. Hello.
And they got 2 other guys, so a total of 5 testicles.
That's pretty exciting. Hey, Lance Armstrong won like 8 Tour de France's with 1 testicle. So
I know.
And Mitch Haniger hit 6 home runs with that testy last year. So get excited.
So I'm guessing this will be a Schultze soapbox. I don't know. Let me just lay it out for you. He's a Mariner fan. Today the Mariners traded Robbie Ray, that gas can Robbie Ray,
in his giant contract
to the Giants.
Yeah.
To the Gigantes.
Where he will go and probably be very, very good.
That's my first thought is, oh my God, he's going to be awesome in San Francisco. And so then he goes there, and then Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani comes to Seattle, and he's a starting pitcher. He's a righty. You know, he's had some good years. He hasn't. Last couple of years have been a little rough, but a couple 2-3 years ago for the Giants, he was really good. So he's interesting. He can. You know, they already have really good starting pitching. So back end rotation guy, he's perfect. I think for them. I think it's a good trade actually. If Mitch Haniger can stay healthy, because Robbie Ray's just kind of, I don't know. He wasn't what you.
Nope, it wasn't what you paid.
He wasn't Cy Young Robbie Ray. So.
No.
And then the other one is Caballero goes to the Rays for outfielder Luke Raley, which is a sneaky little move. Raley's not bad. You know, little guy can hit a little bit. I don't know. Look, here's my thing with the Mariners, and then we'll open up the soapbox here. But
you could like Schultz in there. Just
he hates it.
Waiting.
Just hearing you say,
well, fans
waiting.
Maybe.
Look, fans want stars at every position, and that's just not the way it works. What Dipoto is doing is he is filling holes with for very little money, and that's. You have to do that if you want to build around. You got a great starting pitching. You have an excellent bullpen. You have Julio Rodriguez, and you have the big dumper. Okay, so you got to fill in everything else. Mitch Garver was a good pickup. I think Luke Raley's going to surprise you a little bit. Mitch Haniger, he's got to stay healthy, but we know he can hit, right?
Yeah.
So they're slowly
can make the argument
filling holes.
Why did you let him go in the first place then?
Probably because of his injuries, but. This was also saving him money, right? Like the Giants send $3 million over.
Yeah, and more importantly, you got out.
You got out of Robbie Ray's contract.
They owed Robbie Ray like $87 million, and they owed him an S ton of money. And I'll bet you.
Okay, this is probably a bold statement, but we wanted high tea Friday. Well, here you go. DeSclafani will have just as good a numbers as Robbie Ray this year.
Jeez,
prove me wrong.
He's like a fringe starter, not a former Cy Young.
I know, but he is ready to come at you.
Robbie Ray's not that good, man. He's just not.
I mean, you're not wrong there. I'm not going to come out and defend Robbie Ray like he's one of the top 5 pitchers in Major League Baseball, because he's not. They did get out from, I think it was like a 5-year, $115, $20 million deal for him or something like that. So getting rid of an almost $25, $27 million a year contract, sure, but they still, I don't know if you saw the salary breakdown. DeSclafani makes 12. Haniger makes about 17. So that $3 million that the Giants are sending back, it kind of facilitates more of an even trade here, salary wise. So the Mariners may have trimmed a little bit, but the whole idea was that they could use that money to put out players that will play on opening day, as opposed to Robbie Ray. And this is literally where the Mariners are at, and this is why I'm upset. And Rob, unfortunately, they're forced into positions like this where they have to go for a guy like Raley that's like this late bloomer, 29-year-old. If we get him in the right situation and platoon him here correctly in Seattle, it's just like this Jerry Dipoto quote that I keep hearing year after year after year in the offseason. We get this guy in our system. We get our hitting coaches to work with him. Stop it. I know. I understand. Great teams, even the best teams. I mean, look at the Dodgers, for instance. They're going to have to fill like a hole in left field, probably not with a star. I understand that. The Mariners are not going to have stars 1 through 9. But what they did to start this offseason by trading a top 10 third baseman in Eugenio Suarez for only $12 million. Yeah, he struck out a bunch. Then, you say, we got to trade some people because we're short on cash and we're focusing on contact. We struck out way too much. We don't want the likes of Teo. We don't want the likes of Eugenio Suarez. But hey, this guy Luke Raley, he's really good. He had a nice 29-year-old season. Oh, he struck out 123 times. That is more than the amount of games he played in.
128.
128. Thank you. So I think he played in only like 119 games. My point is, Jerry Dipoto comes off as a used car salesman at this point. I understand he's kind of having his hand forced by John Stanton, but him and Scott Service, man, it's disingenuous. Everything that they're saying to me, it's like, you know what, guys, just quit your jobs and why don't you hand this off to some mediocre dudes? Jerry, go join somewhere where they're going to give you cash because you look like an idiot. This Mariners team will win no more than 85 games this year. I'm saying it right now. It sucks if they trot out Luis Urias at third base. Oh, I might seriously have to burn some
85 games
gear.
is a bad season.
There's your.
It ain't gonna make the playoffs.
Mariner
There's your hot take. You wanted it. You
the
got it.
soapbox.
You got it.
I love it. It's my favorite thing.
But does that win you 54%? Is that?
I think almost, but are you serious against the Dodgers? Let's go the American League against the Rangers, against the Astros in your own division. You can't even be nearly the third best team. I champion they'll be kind of mediocre like the Angels this year. This is sad. They're gonna take a fall off a cliff. I see it coming.
Wow, I don't agree. They won 88 last year. Mm-hmm. Angels, by the way, won 73.
Yeah, with
the division
with two MVPs, by the way.
Yeah, the division is tough. The one area where I'll agree with you is I don't like this idea that they're rolling out Luis Urias and Josh Rojas. That's pretty weak. But I think the other moves, Haniger, Rayleigh's a lefty. He's going to, like you said, platoon. Garver sliding in. I think those moves are good. And you got to remember, they have good pitching. Pitching gets you a long way.
Sure, but where I will push back on that is you had a team last year that wasn't good enough. And the pitching isn't going to be significantly better than it was. It's great pitching. You had excellent pitching start to finish last year, right? I mean, just it's one of the best young rotations.
Probably top 3 of the league.
Right? But
sure.
The idea that that's going to get exponentially better, no, it's not. It's great pitching, but pitching can also be injury-riddled and you cross your fingers. And so when I look at their lineup, I ask you, in a lineup that all year long we all said the same thing, like this is what you have to work with, how did that lineup get significantly better? Yeah, it kind of tweaked and you made... And I guess that's my rub.
Well,
in a league where you saw other people go out and make significant changes and get significantly better. I think what you did in the offseason is shuffle around some chairs and essentially roll out relatively the exact same team that you had last year, just with some different faces. And that's where I think if you're a Mariner fan, that you're frustrated.
I think, and I get that. You want a little more star power around Julio. I get that. I also think that, and it's not everything, but a flip side is when you look at teams like the Rays, teams like, oh gosh, who else? Just teams that don't spend and just buy everybody like the Yankees and Dodgers, right?
Well, Minnesota's had to do this, and they usually...
Twins are good, yeah. That's a good example.
And they
Reds
put together
had a little
one.
success this year.
Who's that?
The Reds.
De La Cruz, that's a good one. Like those teams, when you look up and down, top to bottom, there is a lot of value in finding guys that fill holes for not much money. You have to have that.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that's everything, but I feel like Dipoto is doing a pretty good job of that this offseason. Now, that's not going to knock your socks off because you wanted Ohtani or you wanted, Soto or whatever. But, I think they're incrementally better 1 through 9. Look, the Royals, when they won the World Series, they were not stacked in the middle of the lineup with stars. They were very solid 1 through 9. I think that's kind of what he's going for. Not saying that this lineup is that, because like I said, I think that Urias Rojas thing, I don't know about that, but I think with Garver's bat in there, Haniger's bat in there, hopefully Ty France is more all-star Ty France. You got Big Dumper and Julio leading the charge. JP had a good year.
I guess when I look at it, you look at a team like Cincinnati, you look at a team like Baltimore. And again, this is where I think the frustration lies. You have the teams that buy, right? You have the Yankees, you have the Dodgers, you have the Red Sox, you have those teams. And then you have the teams that have been built with young talent. Baltimore loaded with ridiculous young talent. Cincinnati bringing up the Dodgers, by the way, for all the talk of the Dodgers buying everybody, how many young guys do they swear to God the Dodgers bring up every year? And you're like, how is that? They just find them. The Max Muncys of the world and the Bellingers, they appear and you're like, oh, those guys hit. So you're not buyers, and yet you don't, outside of Julio. Well, when's the last time that a Mariner that came through a bat, that came through your system, became a real, that's why I said Julio, he's the one. Outside of that, when did you have someone that came through? And so I think that's the frustrating part, is that the young guys haven't come through and turned into a Baltimore type situation where it's like this fun, young, exciting team, and you haven't gone out and not even gotten the solid, and maybe like I'm thinking like a JD Martinez, like a guy like that comes through that you can put it. And then look, he's not an MVP guy.
He'd be a nice get,
but someone like that is better than a Mitch Haniger, but it's not going out and getting the 10-time All-Star. It's like you're stuck in this weird no man's. It's 9-7 BS. And when you're talking about, and I guess that's the ultimate thing, is your general manager even polled a 9-7 BS and said that he wanted to win 54% of the time. And that you couple all those things together and you get a Schultzy ready to pop a vein.
And let me just wrap up with this, because I see a couple people saying this clown talking knows nothing about baseball on the text line. I will wrap it up with I root for all sports. Baseball, my Duckies, the Blazers, maybe a little bit less since Dame left, but I want all my teams to win. That's how as a sports fan, I want my teams to win a championship, and I want them to win every game. Is that realistic? No, but that's how I root for my teams. The Mariners came to the point where preparation met opportunity. And because the opportunity without cash essentially screws their preparation up, they're left doing what you say, Suke, this 7-9 BS, left to kind of get these middling guys. They're out on the JD Martinez's of the world. They're out on the Jorge Solers, which are the mediocre tier of free agent hitters. That is where my frustration lies.
All right. I would like, and I'm not even a super Mariner fan. I pull for them when they're, when Mets and Mariners, but yeah, that's who I would, that's the sort of level of bat that I would like to go, that I would like to see them go out and get. Say what you will when they went and got like Richie Sexton, and Richie didn't hit 300, but
he had a good season and a half for him. First part of that contract was okay.
Drove in a bunch of runs.
Yeah. Like Richie was a guy that they came in that was probably a guy at that level and was very, very productive.
Beltray the same year.
All right, well,
there you go.
When they are
Figgins.
Oh, don't even get me
Sean Figgins.
That's a whole nother segment. We ain't gonna do that.
Sorry,
we ain't going there.
Had to trigger Schultz.
9 years, $36 million, flush down the tubes.
Well, I would just like to say that when the Mariners are making a run at the pennant next year, you guys need to shut your pie holes. Hey, haters.
Don't rope me into this.
Well, you're agreeing with.
I'm just stoking the fire a little bit. That's
Jackwad over there. No, I see where you guys are coming from, but there's hot baseball talk, you guys. Hot baseball talk.
That is 9-7.
You'll never know how I feel as a Royals fan, Rob.
What do you mean?
The experience of your 2010s is what I hoped the Mariners of the 2020s would be, an appearance and a win in the World Series. It ain't happening. It's done. I'm trying to accept it, but I'm having
It was the last time the Mariners went to the World Series. Oh.
Can I just tell you, though, if there's any inspiration you should take, it's from the Royals, because we were as hopeless. I know we won in 1985, but we were as hopeless as you, probably worse than how you feel about the Mariners, the Royals, for 30 years. And then out of nowhere, it happened, and nobody predicted it. Nobody saw it coming. So you just never know. You just never know. In Mitch Garver, we trust.
At least they have a DH this year.
And Mitch Haniger. Let's not forget about
the two Mitches.
The two Mitches.
3 balls, 2 Mitches.
That should be a podcast. Those guys could do a pod together.
All right. Stop talking about baseball. Do you guys want golf talk? No, you don't.